What is up? My name is Megan. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I hope you guys are doing well and staying safe. And welcome to today's video, which is a little bit different for me, but I've been wanting to do a video like this for a while, so why not do it now? This, as the title will have told you already, is going to be a quarterly wrap-up and stats video for January through March. I have not read a lot due to everything else going on in my life, but I thought it would be a good way for me to talk about the books I've read, because I've read some really great books. So even though I haven't read a lot, I've read some really great quality books. And I have been using Storygraph this year, so I thought it'd be fun to, like, throughout the year talk about the stats that the app has to offer. If you don't know, I've transitioned from Goodreads to Storygraph because the platform is just so much better. So don't forget to follow me there if you want more of my reviews. So let's go through the books I have read. I'm not going to go in any particular order. We're going to go with the one I have unhauled from this pile, and that book is Measuring Up. That book is a middle grade graphic novel about this main character who moves to the United States. I believe it's from Taiwan or somewhere near that area. I'm not 100% sure. And she enters this cooking competition in order to win some money to bring over her grandmother for her birthday celebration. I really liked the messages of this graphic novel, and I think that for a younger audience it's definitely like a good one. I think there's a lot of messages and themes throughout it. The illustrations were fine, but honestly, clearly it's not memorable for me. I've read some more fun middle grade, whether that be graphic novel or just regular old novels that spoke of diversity. I think that the diversity in that middle grade is important, but I just think that the story was very, very quick, it felt rushed even for a graphic novel. So as I said, I'm not keeping that one on my shelf, but still a great read. Moving on, I think this was actually my first book of the year. I have read The Secret Life of Albert Entwistle by Matt Cain. I haven't really spoken of this book on my channel. This is a fiction novel. It is an adult fiction novel, and it follows a somewhat elderly man who is going to have to retire from the post office where he works because he has hit like the retiring age. Like they will not take him any longer than that. And so this kind of brings him to question what he's done with his life, because he feels very lonely. He's afraid to retire. It's only him and his cat. And essentially this is the story of him going after the life he wanted, his dreams, and it's a big story about following your heart. This man was, well, is gay, but kind of put that in the closet because during his time when he was growing up, being gay was not correct. Those people were in danger, and that group of people kind of had to hide, and so he's been hiding that part of his identity all his life. And now in the time where this is set, like, clearly being part of the LGBTQ community still has a lot of risks, but it is better seen in the community. And so he questions, like, what if I go after this boy I was in love with when I was a teenager? And it kind of kickstart his journey. I did cry at a few moments in this book. I think it does a lot of things very well, and I liked following an older protagonist. I picked this up because of Bookstagram. I feel like a lot of people were reading it there, and to me it is very worth the hype if you're looking for an emotional book that also has a lot of joyful moments and beautiful discussions, and it's just like a comforting read, but that tackles problematics within the society and that talks about what it's like to be in the LGBTQ community. This is definitely a great one. I love the author's writing, and I haven't seen it much like on actual booktube or book talk. It's mostly on Bookstagram, but I highly recommend this one. I feel like the lighting may change a little bit. It is the end of Easter Sunday, so bear with me. Another book on my pile is Five Survive by Holly Jackson. I think I do have a vlog of this one up on the channel where I talk about it. I know I've talked about it somewhere. This is Holly Jackson's standalone mystery thriller YA book. It is essentially all within 8 hours. It is about a group of friends who have rented an RV and are going on vacation, but they actually get stranded, and then there's a sniper who's trying to kill them. and only 5 of the 6 friends survive, and it's them having to figure out how to get out alive, what the sniper wants. It's very high action. I do think that the first almost third of the book was difficult to get through. I had to get to like a point where I was like invested enough in the characters that I actually cared what happened to them. I think the writing style of this one is much different than A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by this author, and I definitely liked A Good Girl's Guide to Murder more. However, this was like a 4.25, so saying that, I still really enjoyed the book, and I really enjoyed the ending of this. Like, my jaw literally dropped. I did not see the ending coming, but when you think about it, it actually makes sense. And I think that's what Holly Jackson does best, is she pulls things out of the blue, but when you really connect the dots, it actually makes sense. Like, it's not a really random ending, and I really appreciated that. I did end up caring for some of the characters and what happened to them, and at the end of it, I was like, man, I wish there was a second book to this, because I was very much invested. So it was a good one. I think for the rest of the pile, we're getting into books that, you know, I enjoy more and I talk about more. Actually, I lied. There's another book I haven't really talked to you about, which really deserves to be talked about, and that is Places We've Never Been by Casey West. This is her latest release as of now. She's coming out with a new one in June of 2023. If you've been here for any amount of time, you know how much I adore Casey West. My favorite book of all time is by her. That one is Listen to Your Heart. And this, ladies and gentlemen, has taken the #2 spot. This, P.S. I Like You and Listen to Your Heart, they are right up there. Like, honestly, read this book. This is about the main character, why am I blanking on her name? Nora. And why? Wow, I am not prepared for this. Nora and Skylar were best friends when they were kids. They did everything together. They were inseparable, but then one of them moves, and so they haven't had contact in a couple of years, but they are going on this RV trip with their families for a period of the summer before they go to college. And Nora is very excited about it. She's like, I'm finally going to be able to see Skylar again. Like, we're going to be best friends. I'm so happy to see my childhood friends. And when they show up to leave for the RV vacation, he does not want to do anything with her. And it's kind of her trying to figure out what happened so that like they were best friends and now they're absolutely nothing. So it's like friends to enemies. Well, enemies. Using that loosely. Friends to people who don't really talk anymore to friends to lovers. And it's following them on their journey on the RV. And I just loved the vacation and the RV aspect of it. I love the way the two families kind of merge together, and the childhood memories and the childhood relations that grow into adult relationships. And there was a lot about finding yourself, your identity, what you want to do in life, which is one of my favorite things in books. Nora is applying to college, and within the RV tour, she's also going to tour a college for video gaming, I believe, is what she's trying to study in, like video animation. And it's just the combination of everything I like in books, and I feel like the characters were so well done. I like the humor in this, the romance in this, the self-identity quest, what it's like rekindling friendships with old friends or people you knew when you were younger, and like them fitting into your new life. Anyways, a whole spiel on this book, but it's really worth the read in my opinion. Then we have 2 middle grade books, which I haven't shut up about, so I'm not going to talk about them too long. We have Scandar and the Unicorn Thief, which I made a full review for, so if you want my thoughts on that, please go see that review on my channel. And we have Amari and the Great Game, which is the sequel to Amari and the Night Brothers, which was my favorite book of, I believe, was it 2021? Oh god, time is flying by. 2021? 2022? I don't even know. Whatever year Amari and the Night Brothers came out, it was my favorite book. This is a little bit under Amari and the Night Brothers for me. I think it suffers a little bit of second book syndrome, but I still recommend this series with all my heart. If you don't know what Amari and the Night Brothers is, it is about this young girl named Amari who ends up going into the supernatural world she didn't realize existed. She discovers powers, and then she has to go on this quest to find her brother who is missing, and she learns all about her powers and what that implies. And honestly, one of the best most iconic middle grade series to ever exist. Okay, thank you. And the final book I have read within the 3-month span is actually Sunny Disposition by Deanna Gray. Again, I have raved about this book countless times on my channel. Originally, I had the copy with the men on the cover, but I was kindly gifted this copy. This is the first in a series of companion novels about, it's called like the Mendel Hawks. It is hockey romances. This one is between a hockey player and a girl who is secretly an online gamer. She like streams and stuff. And basically, she and the hockey player are anonymously corresponding online. They were supposed to meet, something happens, but they're still like really good friends, and both of them kind of have a romantic interest within each other, but they don't know who the other person is. But they also know each other in real life, and they are going to be roommates. So it's a roommates, anonymous, kind of like You've Got Mail situation, and it's a hockey romance. It's dual perspective. It's everything I love in a book. Honestly, chef's kiss. If you're looking for a hockey romance, read this. It also has diverse characters. We love that. So, let me flip this around for you guys. This is the stack of books I've read, plus that one graphic novel. Now let's talk stats. So obviously, within this pile, I've read 100% fiction. I have not read one nonfiction book within the first quarter. Honestly, I'd like it to keep it that way. I don't really care for nonfiction. I have enough with school and all of that. So, very happy with that statistic. Moving to the side so that I can try and at least include charts and stuff. As for total amount of books, I have read 7 books so far this year. I am 2 books behind on my reading goal of 35 books, which is the lowest reading goal I've ever set for myself. Usually I hit around 80 books a year, but I knew this year was going to be one of the biggest years of my life, so I lowered it to 35, and clearly I'm still struggling, so thank you. I have read 2,714 pages within 7 books, and that is 18% of the goal I have set for myself. Technically, I'm 1,354 pages behind. So, do of that what you will, but I'm behind. As for the pie chart of like the moods of the books that I've read, the biggest portions are clearly adventurous, mysterious, lighthearted, and like hopeful / emotional reads. That is usually what I tend to read anyways, and I feel like the stack of books clearly represents that. The other moods that were like most present in my reading were tense, reflective, inspiring, and dark, and I feel like that is mostly due to this book. Like, I feel like this is definitely what those moods are. As for pace, I feel like most of what I read is fast to medium pace, and I think Storygraph agrees. 43% of the books I read have been noted as having a fast pace, so I think all my middle grades, that Holly Jackson book, kind of contribute more to a fast-paced novel, and the medium books would be like all my contemporaries and those things, because I do feel like none of them were very prolonged or very thought out with flowery writing. You know, that's not the kind of books I read, so I feel like this definitely makes sense. As for page number, I think this is very interesting. Most of what I read, so 71% of what I read is within 300 to 499 pages, which means I have not read a single book over 500 pages, and I definitely want to change that for the next quarter. Like, that's my goal. I want to read bigger books because I have big books on my shelves that I definitely want to get to. I'm just so scared of reading big books, which is such a dumb thing. Like, a book is a book, you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna take me more time. That doesn't matter. And the other 29% were books under 300 pages. So I do think that, like, Sunny Disposition and that graphic novel were most likely what that is. As I said, all of what I read is fiction. As for genres, I have like obviously there can be more than one genre within what I've read. I have read three middle grade books, 3 contemporary novels, 2 young adult novels, 2 romance books, 2 fantasy, and 1 LGBTQIA plus 1 thriller, 1 literary, and 1 graphic novel. So if you sum up these 7 books that I just talked about, they all fit within those categories, and I think that's a pretty diverse, like, genre wise. Like, there's a lot going on here, which is really nice. I feel like I've hit like all the age ranges that I usually read, which is really cool. Although I've been in a really big middle grade kick for some reason this year, all I want to read is middle grade and romance. Pretty cool. All of what I read was print. I didn't read anything via Kindle. Sometimes I do listen to an audiobook while I'm also reading it, but I end up reading the physical copy. And my average rating for, I think 2 of these books I did not rate, but my average rating is a 4.2, which, as I said, I did not read a lot of books, but the books I read I rated very highly. Like, a 4.2 average is right on the ball of where I want to be. Like, to me, I feel like I really know my reading tastes by now. I'm able to read books that I know I'm going to enjoy. I'm not one of those people who reads a lot and gives like 1, 2, or 3 stars. Like, most of what I read is from 3 to 5. And it's not that I'm just easy with the ratings, it's because as I age, I realize what I enjoy, and I've definitely like hit the nail when it comes to genres and books. So those were all my stats. Let me know if next quarter you want a video like this, if you want me to include more stats. But yeah, I hope you liked this little quick wrap up of my thoughts on the 7 books I read, as well as all of my stats, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye guys, happy reading!